We'll go ahead and begin. Welcome to each and every one of you to the 7th meeting of the Board of Directors for calendar year 2024 on this kind of a dreary, wet evening on Tuesday, April 16th. We'll begin with invocation led by Alan Bates, Urban Forester, City of Hot Springs, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I just come to you tonight just with a grateful heart, and I thank you for our beautiful city of Hot Springs. I thank you for each of our directors. I just ask, Father, that you infuse them with wisdom tonight as this board members go forward. And I just ask for all that we do, Father, it will be edifying to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday.
Here.
Director Phyllis Beard.
Present.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Dudley Webb.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia.
Here.
Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. This time we'll consider the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda, or items to be moved from the consent agenda to new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I moved.
Director Garcia, seconded by Director Trusty. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. This time we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly held meeting of April 2nd, 2024. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Director Trusty
So moved.
to
Second.
approve, seconded by Director Webb. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. We have a proclamation for Arbor Day, and I would like Alan Bates, our urban forester, to come to the podium. I'll be reading this here. City of Hot Springs proclamation. Whereas National Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and the world on the birthday of J. Sterling Morton, who proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture in 1872 that a special day be set aside for planting trees. And whereas the trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in all areas increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business area, beautify our community, and are source of joy and spiritual renewal to many. And whereas recognizing the importance of the vital role trees play in our ecosystem, Hot Springs, Arkansas continues observing National Arbor Day each year in April. Now therefore, I, Pat McCabe, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, on behalf of the Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as National Arbor Day in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And witness wherever I hereunto set my hand and cause to the city to be fixed on the 16th day of April in the year of our Lord 2024. And I'm going to present this to Alan.
Thank you.
Feel free to comment about our urban forestry program.
Yes, sir. Well, as the mayor said, next Friday, the 26th, is our annual Arbor Day activity. It's held at Entergy Park. We have over 250 students coming from surrounding schools. We have 8 different stations that we will have as they rotate each day. We start the day with the mayor reading this proclamation, and then after that we have a tree service from Bemis Tree Service that's going to spade in a large tree for the students to see how that's done. So we do each year have a tree for that. This is our 24th year. We just finished up with our Tree City recognition. And we're working, this is part of the process for our 25th anniversary. So we have 4 things we have to do. One is an Arbor Day. We do have to have a tree ordinance. We have to have someone in place as myself and then we have an advisory board. And so all of those have been met, and hopefully next year we'll be getting our 25th Tree City USA. One quick note, I do have a tree giveaway this coming Monday, the 22nd, at the county library. We'll give away over 700 different oak not the varieties, but 700 trees of 2 or 3 different oak varieties. And also we have a white oak and red oak both. So that'll be this. And according to Katie, we have had over 700 people that have shown interest in that. So we're going to hopefully have enough trees. We limited it to 3 each. So that's this Monday. All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anybody have a question of Alan? Nope. Thank you, Alan.
You bet.
Is the tree giveaway, where is that again? At the library.
Alan, when is the tree giveaway, and what are the 2 trees again?
All right, it is this coming Monday, the 22nd, at the library. It's from 10 to 1, and we're giving away 2 varieties of red oak, which is a Shumard oak and a cherry bark oak, and 1 variety of white oak.
Okay, thank you.
We have over 700 trees, and it's a limit of 3 per person.
And bring your flatbed trailer.
Just 3 small, they're small.
I know.
Yeah, they're bare root.
Won't need to dress.
I thought you were going to come to everybody's house with that big spade thing and just put it right in there.
Well, I guess they would be happy to do that.
Very nice. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll hear from our city manager, Mr. Burrow, on the city manager's report. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I guess first I'm going to start off by just thanking all the departments, public safety, all of our ancillary departments that worked during the eclipse. Huge event. We didn't get the number of people that we thought we would, but you know, I recall saying several times that whether we had 5,000 or 500,000, we were prepared, and we certainly were for the event. I can tell you, I've never seen that many people downtown as that Sunday and Monday. I mean, it was an incredible number of people down there, but traffic continued to move through rather well. I know we had a lot of enforcement down there that you may or may not have seen, but it all went really, really smooth. We had, you know, just a couple of issues. We had one person set up a 10-by-10 tent and started selling T-shirts on the sidewalk that actually blocked the sidewalk. They had to relocate. They had to move. We had one altercation after the eclipse happened, 10 or 15 minutes later, out on the sidewalk. We had a couple of guys get into an altercation, but I think that lasted about 15 seconds before our team was with them. But really appreciate just all the work, all the planning. You know, something like that doesn't happen without an immense amount of planning, and for those that have been involved in it over the past 2 years, just really want to thank you for your time. And man, it was a great event, and really it was a great exercise, I think, for all of us, especially some of our newer department heads that were there in the command center. I can tell you that just sitting there watching everything that took place, there's not much we can't handle, and it just comes from great planning from all of those involved. So really appreciate that. Sunday, April 7th, we had 1,200 people visit the visitor center. I mean, I think that may be a record. I know that we had, between Sunday and Monday, all 50 states were represented, stopping in there and getting information. And I can't remember how many countries. It was 8 to 12 different countries that were there. So really appreciate that. Airport had a good amount of air traffic for the solar eclipse. Operations ran very smooth there. Don, your team did a great job out there. According to our VerTower numbers, for perspective, the average daily traffic count in March is about 70 operations a day. On April 8th, that Monday, they had 148 operations, 20 jets, 55 non-jet aircraft, and then 2 patterns of C-130s. From April 5th to the 8th, we had 581 operations. That included 30 jets and 169 non-jet aircraft, and then those 2 patterns of C-130s. So a lot of planes coming in. I know you guys were really busy out there. Hopefully we sold a whole lot of fuel too. That always helps. I want to thank Human Resources, Alicia Gretzka and Mike Eaton. with our health and safety. They participated in a career fair held out at National Park College on April the 2nd. This was the biggest turnout they've seen at National Park College from the vendors and students. They had about 100 people stop by our particular booth, and most of those were discussing welding opportunities and clerical positions. However, they were taking the opportunity to talk about really all of our departments and the opportunities to be able to work in the city. Appreciate that. Fire department closed their deadline to submit an application for employment on March 22nd. They received 41 applicants. 39 applicants challenged the physical ability test. 22 passed that test, and 17 passed the written exam. Fire department has 4 openings that they anticipate filling from the candidates on this particular list. Police department is currently accepting applications for employment through April the 26th. Currently, they have received 16 applications and hope to fill 6 spots. I don't know if you get all 6 with 16 applicants. Hopefully, we'll get some more applicants in. They're looking for certified and non-certified applicants. Certified applicants are eligible for a $10,000 signing bonus, and non-certified are eligible for $5,000 signing bonus. Applicants can apply at 20 years of age, but they must be 21 years of age at the time of hire. Have a high school diploma or equivalent, GED, no felony convictions, possess a valid driver's license, and must be a citizen of the United States. So that's been a challenging positions to fill. So Chief, hopefully we'll get a few more applicants and you'll get some good hires out of this. Public Works Department, want to talk about the west stairwell in the Exchange Street parking plaza. We've got a complete refurbishing of that stairwell happening. It's going to be down probably through May 31st. The alternate stairwell and the elevators will, of course, be available for use, but you'll see one stairwell if you frequent the parking plaza. We're going to have that down for refurbishment. And then would like to talk a little bit about the 2023 paving. We've still got just a few more streets on that, 3 to 4 streets. You're going to be talking about the 2024 paving tonight. We have these streets and about half of Whittington to go. Probably another 2 days on Whittington to have that completed. I've had a few phone calls from residents in that area, so we're hoping that we can get 2 good days of sun and have that completed. Some of the larger projects that we have, the water and wastewater. As you know, the intake site's complete for our water supply project. All of the raw water lines are in. We're about 50% complete on the plant. If you haven't seen that lately, we probably ought to take another tour at some point. It's really taken shape. The admin building's built, about half of the actual plant itself. You can see it in its footprint. It's got walls. Of course, the clear well and the 4 million gallon lagoons are there. But that's moving along well. It's probably, I would say, about 50% complete. Hoping to finish that off by late third, maybe early fourth quarter of 25. The potable or finished water lines, we've got 4 contracts there. One of them's complete, and that's the crossing of Lake Catherine Bridge. Some really good engineering that took place on that to be able to run that line down the center underneath the bridge. We already have a line on both sides. So that was a great engineering feat to come up with a way that we could brace that bridge and brace the structure. But we've got that one's complete. We've got 3 other contracts that are different segments of the finished water line. One of those is about 65% complete. One is 46% complete, and then one's about 39% complete. So they're moving along. It's coming along well. No issues there to report. We'll be done with the finished water lines well before we're complete with the plant. But those things are on target and moving forward. I still get some calls about our Gulfa pump station and the issues we're having out there on that 20-inch line that basically is collapsed, for lack of a better term. We're able to push some water through it, but if we try to run more than one pump, we blow it out. We've got Coakley, who's been working on that line. We're installing a 24-inch, and right now the target date is July 4th. They're moving along a little bit faster than that, I think. If we can keep some good weather, I think we'll have that one in. That's important. That's about 85% of the overflows we see today will go away. Once we get this 24-inch in, we won't have dry weather overflows. We'll still have some overflows if we have a large, significant rain event, but we can decrease those by about 85% with this 24-inch line. Max Foot Company has started building the new pump station. And, you know, we talk in terms of manhole numbers, and you guys have heard many times, manhole 1750. 1750 will actually be going away. That's where the new pump station is going to be setting. We've got a 30-inch line that's already been awarded. Half of that's been awarded to Coakley. As they finish the 24, they're going to move over and start building the 30, so we'll have 2 lines coming from there. So we're moving along. So I get calls. Actually had lunch with someone today that was concerned about that project and went through that. But we're not wasting any time. We're doing as much as we can. The board also approved a $34.5 million upgrade to our treatment plant. We will be talking to you soon about additional work and additional funding. That's going to be a necessity to finish this project. We ran into things much like we did the water plant. Just things cost more to do today than they did 3 years ago when these projects were being started. But I'll keep you posted on that as we learn more about what that looks like. IPS on the parking, the downtown parking, they're scheduled to come in, I think, in the next week to start their walkthrough, looking at our downtown area, where those 2, 1, and free parking might be, where we'll have kiosks versus a mobile app pay. Some of those areas will have both, so we're pleased to get them in town and start that process. Other than that, Mayor, unless there's any questions, I'll end my report.
Very good. I will say, just tag on to your comment regarding the eclipse, and the National Park did just a wonderful job in promoting what they had to offer, and Arlington Lawn probably never had so many people on it at one time, and then people also going up to all the overlook viewing areas on North Mountain and West Mountain. So kudos to them. We hear that, not all the community was able to participate in that, and apparently it was very localized. The National Park had their activities. I personally know, of couples renting a hotel room for one night, let's say Thursday night, and then they had a houseboat rental for a week on Lake Washita. And so I'd love to be able to say how many people we had, but I think they were so spread out also. And certainly during the time of the eclipse, I really should have videotaped and did Facebook Live. There was nobody on Central Avenue at 1:51 p.m. or so when the eclipse started. And then from 3 p.m. on Monday, May 8th to about 7 p.m., there was nothing but a stream of cars going bumper to bumper through downtown from north to south. You could have laid in a northbound lane and not been hit. All the traffic was going south. And it took better part of 4 hours for that to thin out. So those people were coming from Cedar Glades. They were coming from the Coleman Mines. All the things that were going on up north in the north part of Garland County versus the city. And so, maybe the people were here, and maybe they're here for a day. But I tell you, Friday was scary. There was nobody downtown Friday leading into that weekend. Saturday was moderate. Sunday it really picked up, and Monday it was crazy until the eclipse. And then everybody was seated at wherever they were going to watch it. They were seated. So.
And I was remiss, transportation, intercity transit, running shuttles up west to North Mountain. That seemed like that went on all day from the very first in the morning. There were people lined up when the first shuttle got there. And so I know that, I can't remember what they told me, a couple hundred people were on one of the mountaintops.
Yeah, 600, 500.
600, 500, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of folks in a 24 count bus that's bringing them up and down. But they did a great job and just worked really well with the National Park Service. So I appreciate that, Mayor.
At this time, we'll hear from our individual directors on upcoming events. Do directors have an upcoming event?
I do.
Director Dobbs Smith.
This Friday and Saturday is a very big time for the Master Gardeners of Garland County. We have our annual plant sale. It's from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening. We also have exhibitions and educational opportunities and lots of vendors. And but if you want to buy some of our beautiful plants that are at a fantastic price, that are locally grown by our gardeners, get there early because we do sell out. And you will see yours truly cashiering there. And then a second announcement, we all noticed the dogs and cats that are up here on the screen. Our animal services is overwhelmed, like inundated, flooded with animals right now, especially dogs. There's dogs on top of dogs and mama dogs and baby dogs and people surrendering dogs. So if you have the thought of taking on a new puppy or doggy in your life, now's the time to do it. A lot of the dogs are sponsored, and several of them have already had shots. Some of them are surrenders. So we are a kill shelter. So if it gets overcrowded, then we know what happens. Thanks, Mayor.
Director Aaron Holliday.
Thank you. I'm going to dovetail a little bit on what Director Dobbs Smith said and just give a shout out to the staff out at Animal Services. I did see a post this weekend that they had hit 363 days of not having to put any of the animals down because of space. So I would imagine we've just now hit right at a year because of their efforts. So, but that's all of us as well. So thank you for bringing that up. But I did want to announce, I'm excited that the Arts in the Park Festival is coming back up. It's a 2-week festival here in town. It's April 26th through May 5th. There's events all over town, but it opens on Friday, April 26th with the Art Moves exhibit. If you're not familiar with that, it is artwork that is down along the Hot Springs Greenway Trail. And so we'll have new artwork going up at that opening event Friday afternoon. And then Saturday and Sunday is what most people know about the festival is the Art Springs Festival. So it'll be around Hill Wheatley Park or Hill Wheatley Plaza downtown. So it's Saturday and Sunday, it's free. They'll have a sidewalk chalk event, Under Pressure, which is a huge block printing event, different dance performances, music performances. But again, it's a 2-day outdoor festival. It's free. There's lots of stuff for kids, grown-ups, things you can buy, things you can do for free. So definitely check out kind of the best that our arts has to offer that weekend. Again, it is it's April 27th and 28th. And for more information, it's hotspringsarts.org. Thanks.
Director Beard, did you have an announcement?
Thank you, Mayor. On Saturday, this Saturday, April 20th, is the cemetery cleanup at Friendship Cemetery. It turned 100 years old on April 3rd, so we were going to do a big cleanup. So if you have any kind of equipment, riding lawnmowers, weed eaters, that kind of thing that Lee has in his truck, we ask that you come down and help us. That's Friendship Cemetery at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and the address, it's on Shady Grove and Hollywood Avenue. I think it's 320 Hollywood Avenue. Thank you.
Very good. Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to invite everyone and make the public aware that this Thursday, on April 18th, the Levi Hospital is the presenter of the Night of Art at National Park College, and it will begin at 5:30 in the Student Commons building. This is an event to support our students. So the proceeds will go to the Students Relief Fund and scholarships. So it is for excellent cause. There will be hors d'oeuvres, and Jacob Flores, wonderful music will be there. So if you are looking for something to do Thursday night, please consider this event at National Park College at the Student Commons Building, beginning at 5:30. Thank you.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I've got 3 different events. I'll start with the first one, which is Earth Day. This Friday, April 19th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 101 College Drive, National Park College. This event there's another event at National Park. This event will feature food, games, information tables from 20 local and state organizations working to keep our planet healthy. Attendees can receive a free t-shirt and tie-dye it during the event. So you get a free t-shirt and then you get to tie-dye it there at the event. That's this Friday, April 19th, 11 to 2 p.m., National Park College. The second one, that's the next day, the 2024 Arkansas Bago State Championship, April 20th at 11 to 5 p.m. at Oaklawn Casino. Grab a partner and compete for the 2024 state title at Oaklawn Casino Racing and huge payouts. $50 entry fee. Get your 2-man team into the double elimination March Madness style tournament bracket. For more information, call Bago. Is that somebody's name? I wonder. Call Bago at 1-888-323-1813. And then last event, this is coming up May 2nd, not too far away, is National Day of Prayer. The theme for this year's National Day of Prayer, lift up the word, light up the world. And that's 2 Samuel 22, verses 29 through 31. This Thursday, May the 2nd, or not this Thursday, but Thursday, May the 2nd, the National Day of Prayer will start at 7:30 in the morning. The first stop will be at Garland County Sheriff's Department, which is at 525 Washita Avenue, and that's again at 7:30 in the morning. And then at 8:30 in the morning, same day, next stop is at Old Garland County Courthouse, 501 Washita Avenue. Next stop is at 9:30 a.m., and this is at the Hot Springs Police Department at 641 Malvern Avenue. The next stop is at 10:30 a.m., and that's at the Hot Springs Fire Department, Station Number 1. That's at 310 Broadway Street. The next stop is at 11:30 a.m. at the Hot Springs City Hall, right here, 133 Convention Boulevard. The next stop is at 12:30 p.m., and that's at the Hot Springs School District Administrative Offices. That's at 400 Linwood Avenue. The next stop is at 2 p.m. at National Park College, 101 College Drive. The final stop for the closing ceremony this year is at City Life Church, and that's going to be at 6:30 p.m. at 1555 East Grand Avenue. So again, National Day of Prayer, Thursday, May 2nd. Lots of stops along the way, so if you can't make the first stop at 7:30, maybe you can meet somewhere in the middle, or perhaps be at the closing ceremony this year, which is at 6:30 p.m. City Life Church. Thank you.
Very good report. Director Webb, you talked about the Bago State Championship. When I was a little boy, we played yard darts. And for those who don't remember, these were just short of being a weapon. And throw them underhand and try to hit the circle, but I don't think you can buy those anymore. I haven't seen them in a rummage sale either. But Bago it is. And we have the Bago manufacturer right here, and so it's a great location to have a state Bago tournament, right here in Hot Springs. So, Director Trustee, did you not have a upcoming event announcement?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you calling in on me each
Well,
week.
your report was concise. At this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are routine items of routine business and do not merit individual discussion, so I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Director Garcia, seconded by
Second.
Director Aaron Holliday. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. We have one resolution tonight, Resolution R-24-79. Ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-24-79, a resolution acknowledging the 2024 Pleasant Street National Register Historic District Historic Resources Survey Report prepared by Post Oak Preservation Solutions LLC. That concludes your reading, Mayor. It does not include a white oak or a red oak, but a post oak.
Okay, Director of Planning and Development, Kathy Selman, will provide the staff report.
Thank you.
Motion second to adopt, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got me all messed up.
So moved.
Motion to
I got out of my
adopt.
cave.
Director Webb,
Second.
seconded by Director Dobbs-Smith. Now, the
Thank
one and
you.
only Kathy Selman, Director of Planning and Development.
Well, the Historic Resources Survey Report was funded in full through a certified local government grant awarded by the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program. The survey will assist the board and their Historic District Commission in determining specific actions to maintain and improve the Pleasant Street Historic District through both private and public investment. Pleasant Street Historic District is southeast of the Hot Springs Central Business District. It's bounded by Church Street on the north, Grand Avenue to the south, and Laurel, Mound, and Daisy Streets on the eastern side, and Malvern Avenue is the western boundary. This district is both a local ordinance historic district and a listed National Register historic place. And the boundaries of the two districts are identical. All properties within the Pleasant Street Historic District are subject to local regulations concerning construction, demolition, or alteration to any structure in the district. The Historic Resources Survey documents all properties, regardless of historic status, within a certain geography. The survey includes exterior photographs, site plans, and limited research into each resource's history. The Historic District Commission uses survey results when evaluating requests for certificates of appropriateness. The Historic Preservation Program at the state level uses the survey to determine which buildings are considered contributing to a historic district. Only contributing structures are eligible for state and federal financial incentives, but the Historic District Commission reviews changes to all buildings to protect the historic character of the district as a whole. Post Oak Preservation Solutions completed all field work in October. They presented their methodology to the Historic District Commission on October 19th. All property owners within the district were notified and invited to attend that meeting, as well as to attend the subsequent March 2024 Historic District Commission meeting. The 2023-2024 resurvey of the National Register of Historic Places listed Pleasant Street Historic District revealed that the neighborhood is facing ongoing pressure from development, deterioration, and demolition. Although the district currently retains a majority, and that's 59.4%, contributing resources, the margin is narrow. Nevertheless, the district retains overall good integrity of setting and is still able to convey its historical significance. Amendment of the National Register nomination expansion of the period of significance and historic context, re-evaluation of current resources within the district, and potential additional survey of adjacent properties are recommended in the report to strengthen the district and to ensure its longevity. As the largest historic district in Arkansas associated with Black history, the Pleasant Street Historic District is a unique and invaluable resource to the city of Hot Springs and to Arkansas as a whole. The Hot Springs Historic District Commission, at their duly advertised regular monthly meeting on March 21st, 2024, considered testimony, which was all supportive of the report and its recommendations, especially regarding the Goldstein School recommendation. And Goldstein School is adjacent to the existing boundary. They considered the record and voted unanimously 4-0 to approve the Pleasant Street National Historic District Resurvey Historic Resources Survey Report, and recommends that the board adopt a resolution acknowledging the report. And that
Any
is the
questions of Ms.
presentation.
Salmon? Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Is anything operating currently in the former Goldstein School?
I believe it is the site of the first,
Head Start?
Head Start
Is Head
program,
Start
yes.
still operating there?
I believe it is.
That's what I wasn't sure of.
Mhm.
And this aligns very, very well with our plan for Forward Hot Springs that's already been developed, and I was very pleased to see this. Thank you.
Yeah, it does align very nicely with the emphasis on valuing and recognizing and taking advantage of the historic infrastructure that we have here in Hot Springs.
Thank you.
Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. I still don't have an upcoming event, but I just want to ask a couple of questions about this. The recommendations, that section 9, and then the conclusions, who will follow up on those recommendations? I mean, part of this, the parts that I read this afternoon were very interesting, especially the history of Hot Springs. I learned some things there today. But they interviewed, I think, Cheryl Batts and Jean Lacefield and Monica Wright. For example, Ms. Wright notes that there's a centenarian still living in the neighborhood. Could be a valuable resource in the neighborhood's history. Who's going to follow up on these recommendations? And then on the conclusions that you just went, no, section 9.3, the broad preservation recommendations. What do we do with those? I know
Well,
we're going to accept the report probably, but what do we do with those things?
Well, once the report is accepted, then the planning department will move forward with taking these steps one by one.
Okay.
We have already approached the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program, who funds our historic preservation activities,
Right.
about a grant for taking this survey to the next step in looking at those additional properties
Right.
and doing what needs to be done first to amend the boundary of the National Register District, and then, if that is done, to make sure that the boundary of our local ordinance district is amended as well to
Right.
comport with that. Those other things, we do, thanks to you, Board, have a historic preservation planner at this time, and she, I think, is doing an outstanding job of becoming familiar with the faces of the people who cherish the history of our area, both Central Avenue and the Pleasant Street Historic District, and she will be responsible for carrying forth with all of these recommendations.
Very good, thank you. I'm just curious how we were going to proceed. if we
Yeah,
accept
where
the report.
funding is required, we will first request funding from the state, and they are aware of our extreme interest in taking that next step, and in fact have the original survey forms, all of them, at this time, and are making sure that they are ready to go at the time that funding would become available.
Very good. Thank you.
Director Beard?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to say, of all the things or all the packets that I get to review as city director, this one has been the most rewarding. I was gone a long time, and I came back and there were some things missing. I just could not remember what was there, so I'm just honored to like have a picture. Just this neighborhood shaped the person that I became, so I'm just glad that all this is taking place. So I had a lot of questions. My first question was if Miss Harmony, if you could pull up 601 Pleasant Street. You said the boundaries were identical, and I didn't see the house across the street from 601 Pleasant Street. I used to visit this house, and I was just wondering, is this part of or the whole street is part of the historic district, or did you?
It is, well, not the whole street. It goes as far as Grand Avenue, and then it goes up to Church Street. So
Okay.
it is, most of it is in the district.
Okay. So this is one of the houses that I used to visit, and this lady that lived in this house, her sister lived across the street, but I did not see her sister's house on the list. So my question is if that's part, because that's on this side of Grand as well.
I'm looking at page 62, and it appears that 601 Pleasant Street is there.
And some of the numbers are
Some of
off
them have
because they
changed.
were
Yes.
renumbered. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then my next question to you, the first report was done in April of, 2014. It's November of 2014. Is there any kind of update on the property owners? Because I look at them and a lot of them are deceased. So how do you go about contacting them or even their children to give them updates on what the restoration process is?
Well, if there is no owner who is living, typically we are unable to contact someone. The information that we use with regard to ownership is the Garland County assessor information.
Okay.
So that is what we would use in trying to contact owners.
Okay.
Yeah, and every owner, and I believe every owner has been contacted to let them know, first of all, that this was happening and how it was being done and who was going to be doing it, because so many of the owners are elderly, and look who's talking, but we didn't want them to be upset to see someone out in the street taking pictures of their home, because who knows who that could be.
Mm-hmm.
So we think we have contacted everyone to let them know that this is going on, and again, to invite them to that meeting on March 21st so that they could see the results. And it's likely that we will also follow up with them again to let them know that the hard copy of this report will be available at the planning department, and that I believe also at the library, and that they would be able to see it online for those who have online access.
Okay.
But it's a very important component of this activity to make sure that the entire community is aware that it's happening, that we have a product now, and that there is information available for them if they are a contributing resource in terms of funding for alterations to their homes, should that be something they wish to do.
Okay.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yes, I have a few more questions. You'd mentioned that the district is teetering on unsafe historic status, where it's about 59.4%. So what number if it makes it like you can't be a historic district anymore?
There isn't really an answer to that. I have asked that question. Because of the nature of historic districts, there is a balancing that goes on between architectural integrity and originalness and the cultural meaning of some of the things that have occurred in the district. So I don't know that there is a number that would kick us out of having a historic district. There is a goal to have as many contributing buildings as we can, and the recommendation to expand the time frame to 1974 makes it possible for us to relook at some of the structures that were originally found not to be contributing structures because they had, for example, maybe a porch added. If that porch was added prior to 1974, if we change the historic period, then those structures, and I believe there are about 10 of them, could be added to that 59%, and we would find ourselves moving up. The value of the district is really hard to put a number on. Well, and you know that. Our goal is to make sure that as many architectural features and as many stories can be kept alive so that our district will thrive.
Okay. And then now my next question, I understand if you do not have an answer to this, but this was something that I questioned as a private citizen even before I ran for office, and now that I'm an elected official, it's very important that I ask this question. But the initial report back in 2014 says that some of these houses were demolished when actually they were burned, set on fire by arson. I confirmed that with the fire chief. And I was wondering if there has been an update, if any of the people that set the houses on fire, have they been found or captured or anything like that?
I do not have that information.
Okay. And then a couple more questions. I know that the Mamie Phipps Clark House on Garden Street is on the National Register of Historic Places, and I was wondering what can be done to get the National Baptist Hotel that has the 100-bed hospital, the 2,500-seat auditorium. Is there a way that could be placed on the National Register of Historic Places?
I am not sure that it isn't.
I thought it was.
Is it on there? Because I spoke with the office manager, and she asked me about it. I think Stephanie over there, I
Okay.
asked her about it, and she said that she'd been speaking to someone at City Hall about it. And I told her that there's usually a plaque that on the outside of the building in a conspicuous place. And she's been working there for a while, so she inquired that. So that's something that I wanted to ask you.
Yes, and I believe that Lauren, our historic planner, has been in contact with several people about the placement of plaques. Plaques are, they're expensive. And so we've been looking for a way to fund that.
Okay.
But I think that we all agree that the enhanced visibility that a plaque brings to a structure would be of great value in helping people to understand some of the things that have occurred in the district.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Director Holliday?
Thank you. I wanted to hear from you. The entire district, you talk about contributing and non-contributing structures, but anyone who is within the boundaries of the district is still subject to certain guidelines. Have you found that that has been, well, and then also with the understanding, like you're saying, you're communicating with owners about the benefit of being within a district or contributing structure. Since you've been with the city, have you found that those guidelines have been prohibitive, or have you found that there's more benefit in having these other benefits of being part of the district? What's come through the office?
I'm glad you asked that, because and I've been here for almost 18 years, and I would say in 2006, it was seen as an impediment. And I would say that now it is not. That people are more aware of the funding opportunities that exist because the district is recognized. And because we have, and the rules that we have are minimal. And the application fee is $25. One of the things we did the last time we looked at fees, which was 2007, was to cut that application fee in half so that people would not have a problem making application. And I think the results of having those guidelines have helped us to keep the district intact and to make it a place that is now seeing some reinvestment from long-term residents.
Okay, and that's good to hear. I know that it can be challenging if someone wants to make changes to their property or come into an area and make some changes, and it can be frustrating that you can't on your own property. But I do agree, I think over the years, if this district weren't there, that area would not look like this at all anymore. And so I do appreciate that it's protected. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that the tone has shifted.
It has shifted. And I'm going to take this opportunity, since you opened the door, to let people know that we have extensive technical assistance available through Lauren Atkins, our historic preservation planner. She is able to guide people in more cost-effective ways of doing the things that they may be trying to do, and in ways that also preserve the integrity of the structure and the district.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I've got one.
Park Director Dobbs Smith.
Yes, in the report, there was reference made to the vacant building program in San Antonio. Do we have a program like that?
We don't at this time, and that will be something we'll be following up on. We've heard from more than one person that program has been very effective.
It talks about encouraging economic development and protecting those historic properties, the ones that are contributing, and probably those that would be coming up on being contributing. But it's, in my opinion, it's better to help people conserve them than it is to condemn them after you let it get so far and they have to be condemned. But this program was talking about maintenance requirements, inspections, registration, different things like that, and that might be helpful. We have so many, I think it's because our property taxes are very, very low, which is a good thing, but it encourages people to just sit on property and not do anything with it. And in reference to Director Beard's comment about the historic plaques, just because your house is, or your building is listed doesn't mean you get a plaque. You have to purchase that yourself. And they can be expensive depending on the size. Thank you.
Director Salmon, how many structures are in the Pleasant Street Historic District?
We're right around 100.
97, I think.
Yeah.
So when we're at 59%, so we're 9 structures above 50 roughly. So going back to Director Beard's comment about at what point would the district lose its historic designation? And I understand what you said. There is not a specific number because there's other factors, but I just wanted to kind of do the math. And so we're basically 9 structures at 50%. If we lost 9, we'd be at 50%.
Yes, and we have the potential to add 10.
Yeah.
So I think we have an opportunity here to look back, to see where we could have done things differently, and we know we can do them better. And I think this report gives us many of the tools that we need to begin on that better path.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to just throw that number out. I didn't know whether we had 300 structures in the district, 200, 100. So basically it's, as you said earlier, it is a fragile environment there to where we can't really lose structures. We got to do the things that you just mentioned. So, Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, I support this resolution, and I applaud your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions of Ms. Selman? Thank you, Ms. Selman.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience that want to speak to this? Discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Director,
Director Trustee, did you have?
Just one question. Thank you, Mayor. Director Beard, the National Baptist Hotel is on the list. It's on page 47. I thought I'd seen it this afternoon, but it is there as a contributing property, both in the previous survey and in this one. So that's good. It's good to know.
Since there was that plaque missing, that's a different conversation. I will speak with the office manager and let her know, or I guess find out what to do to get a plaque. Because people don't see the plaque and they think, oh, we're not, but actually is.
I think the plaque that most of us, I kept thinking there was a plaque too, but I think it's the baseball trail plaque that I'm thinking of right now.
Right.
That's there. Please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution adopted. Our final action item of the evening is to consider ordinance O-24-15. I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve to read by title only.
So moved.
Director
Second.
Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. Please read by.
All in favor?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please read by title.
Ordinance O-24-15, an ordinance approving an exclusive franchise agreement with Flossie's Funnel Cakes, Inc. to provide food concession operations at Kimry Park. That concludes your evening, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Who made the motion? Director Holliday, seconded by Director
Second.
Trustee. And Adam Usery will provide a staff report. Sports Recreation Director, welcome.
Good evening. The Kimry Park concession provide a variety of food and drink options for spectators, players, coaches, umpires, and staff. The City of Hot Springs solicited requests for proposals for Kimmery Park concessions operations rights. Flossie's Funnel Cakes Inc. submitted the only proposal. City staff conducted an evaluation and rating process for the selection of the food concessionaire to operate the Kimmery concession booth and recommends granting an exclusive franchisee to Flossie's to allow the company to operate food concessions at all leagues, events, and tournaments at Kimmery Park. A notice of intent to award was published and no protests were filed. The franchise agreement is for a term of 12 months, but the agreement can be renewed for up to 5 12-month extensions upon mutual consent by the vendor and city through the annual budget approval process.
Very good. Any questions of Adam? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Adam, we discussed this at the agenda meeting, but just for point of clarification, so the concession stand, as it sits now, is available to all amenities. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you share with us, and just maybe for the people viewing at home who are a part of not only the softball league players, but soccer league players, and even maybe tennis tournament players, what steps need to take place in order to request that the concession stand be open? And what kind of requirements do they need to meet to have the concession stand?
Yeah, it would just be an email to myself, and then I would get in touch with the franchisee, and we would make sure the concession stand's open for whatever event would be taking place, tournament, event, games, anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions of Adam? Hearing none, thank you. We didn't have anybody sign up. Any discussion amongst directors? Oh, Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I support this ordinance, but I do want to bring our attention to the lease agreement or the franchise agreement, specifically Section 2, the agreement period. And I want to entertain a motion to amend a part of it, and I'll get to it in just a minute. Section 2 begins by saying this agreement shall be in effect from the date of award for 1 year with 5 12-month terms subject to annual budget approval by the Hot Springs Board of Directors. That I support. Contract will automatically renew annually. That's the part that I want to make a motion to amend, and it is to remove automatically renew and instead request board approval for each year. Just in my opinion, this allows just for better board oversight and to ensure that the terms are still agreeable by both parties, or to give opportunity to revise, whether it be on the city side or even the concession vendor. So that's my motion to amend. To remove automatically renew and to be replaced with request board approval each year.
So essentially 1 year term.
Right.
Motion's been made.
I'll second it.
Who made the second? Director Dobbs Smith? Any discussion? Director Garcia?
Question, does the pricing change? I mean, does this, any pricing, does this lock in price increases or, not having price increases by having the additional years? But even with the automatic renewals, I thought that came before the board for renewals. But does this have any impact on pricing?
I would say no, because it's based on gross sales. So it's 20% of gross sales. If sales go up, then the fee goes up. If sales go down, the fee goes down.
Well, right now it is. The terms would stay that way. If it's not automatically renewed, they could come back and say 10%. I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Theoretically,
This is locking in 20% going to the city.
It is. I would also point out that Section 5 allows for termination
Anytime.
for any reason with 30 days' notice.
with notice. So that, because the city attorney reviews these.
Yes, ma'am.
So, in your review, did you see or have advice for the city regarding one way or the other on this contract?
I don't have an opinion on whether or not it should be extended 1 year versus, 1 year plus 5 extensions. Maybe if the owner of the company were here, they could speak to it, but I would assume that there's some investment, some commitment that's being made on their part, and in order to get a return on that investment, they needed this amount of time. If you gear up for operations at a particular location and you're only guaranteed a year, that becomes an issue for them, not for us.
It would only be an issue to the city wherein they decide not to enter into the contract because it's limited to 1 year.
And we lost the
And,
concessionaire.
or they would continue, each year raise or decrease the percentage the city would obtain.
That is certainly a possibility, and it's also a possibility that they would terminate for cause or for convenience.
I spoke with Mr. Harrison today and told him about this item coming, and when he learned we were getting 20% of the gross sales, he couldn't believe that we were actually getting that type of retainage. I mean, it's a really good contract for us.
And of course, the reason that we're getting the 20% as opposed to, say, 5% is, a lot of this is our infrastructure. It's our building, it's our facility, it's our utilities, it's our power, our water, so that factors into it.
The agreement period in Section 2 also provides that either party supply 30-day written notice of cancellation. So I'm not certain what a hard thing of saying this is a 1-year term for and removing automatically renew, because basically you're going to have an evaluation period leading up to that 30-day notice period, and if you're unhappy with the performance of the vendor, you're going to address it and kind of have a meeting of the minds as to what the expectations are going forward. And if there is no expectation, if we can't get a meeting of the minds, then we would provide a 30-day written notice. What Brian was referring to in a latter section was at any time we can just provide 30-day notice. So essentially this is a 30-day contract. And but obviously you don't enter into an agreement with the expectation of having it pulled, with 30 days. But certainly within the agreement period, as you approach that anniversary date, we have the ability to, and they do too, to evaluate the past year and make comment as to what needs to be done in order to continue to move forward. So, I'm not that worried about the annual renewal. I'm just really, we need to use that period of time to evaluate, their performance, and they evaluate, their business, and make sure that it's still a win-win for each party. Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think there are some good points being made by all that have spoken so far. I myself am not questioning the 20%. That amount is a great benefit for the city, and it does bring revenue. I looked over the previous years where revenue is coming back to the city. In 1 year, I think to the tune of almost $12,000. So it's a win for the vendor. Flossie's coming there to make money. It's a win for our city to make money. From this concession stand, we do provide a majority of what they, need to operate and sell their goods, but they're also providing that employment service, if you will, for the city. So I'm not questioning the 20%, and I would hope that if we were to bring this back to the board each year, that number still remains the same. And if the board feels like the way this contract is written is satisfactory, I would encourage you to vote to keep it as is. But I just thought, there's something that stands out in my mind that's that isn't always good to just automatically renew a contract, and there may be some issues that come up outside of that 20% guaranteed for revenue that might have a couple of questions of the board. But there again, there does, have stated in this agreement period that there could be a 30-day written of notice. So I just encourage, I'm just bringing it to our attention as part of my job as being city director, is to read the fine print and provide oversight to what's coming before the board. And that thought entered my head, and so I'm bringing it to y'all's attention. But, vote how you may.
Director Garcia?
We do have the clauses you pointed out to, with the 30-day notice. My concern without hearing from this vendor is that without this, that we would, since they were the only one that submitted this, that we wouldn't have anyone. And not hearing from the vendor, that's a concern. And from what I understood from the, can't think of his name, but anyway, Adam, that they had provided excellent service, and when they have tournaments, they bring extra there. So it wasn't a concern that this is a first-time vendor, and there's not a concern of getting out of the contract, but I do have a concern if they don't have, this wasn't brought to their attention, that without this current, that they may be using this contract to, if they needed any type of funding for our line of credit, or they are using this in some way we're not aware of, that if they don't agree to the terms that are being changed or could be changed, that we wouldn't have anybody.
So that, Brian, this agreement was reviewed and, accepted in its current form with Flossie's?
Yes, Your Honor. I will point out in section 1, when we approved it, it was formatted differently, and when it switched over, there were equal signs instead of apostrophes. So we will clean that up, but that's just a formatting error.
But Brian, you made a comment earlier about the vendor, and Director Garcia made a similar style comment about, when you go to contract, you're contracting for 5 years. Yeah, there are those, if you don't perform, 30-day notice, you're gone. Annually, we can take a look back and say, hey, this, that, and the other needs to be improved, not at a level of discontinuing the relationship, but just saying, hey, we want to see this improvement, maybe in an outer year, if not improved, if those things continue to repeat, you might say, okay, well, we're going to go a different direction. But from their planning standpoint, they're expecting 5 years. And it'd be hard pressed for people to commit resources for 1 year. So I think as much as I appreciate the comments of Director Webb, I would support maintaining as is, and then utilizing the tools that are inside the current agreement if we have a reason to have a roundtable discussion. Any other? Director Holliday?
I have a question. Did the original RFP say that we were asking for a 12-month agreement with 5 12-month extensions? Like, is that what they actually responded to, that we put out first, or was it requested?
Do you remember?
In negotiations?
I think that's what was put out.
Okay, so they're just agreeing to what we asked the public to respond to?
Yeah, and I want to assure the board, this isn't a contract where we sign it and then we just turn a blind eye. You've got managers that are on site, you've got a city manager, you've got deputy city managers. We'll be managing this contract as we go through. I can tell you that if things aren't good out there, my phone rings. I know. So we'll continue to manage the site, but he's been a good partner with the city in the past. Really, when it first happened, he really pulled us out of a bind. We didn't have anything out there at the time, and he was able to bring in trailers and get us through a tough time. But the relationship we've had with this particular owner has been good in the past. I assume it will continue to be, but Should it not, we'll be bringing something to the board to make a change.
If you want to review page 5 of the bid specifications, contract will be for 1 year with 4 12-month terms.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if that was something, like I said, that came from us originally, or,
It is what was solicited.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so Director Webb made the motion. There was a second to remove the word automatically renew. And you want to rephrase, we restate what the change was?
Yeah, I had sought clarification that essentially it's a 1-year contract. Your amendment was to change it to a year-to-year contract.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The motion is to remove automatically renew to be replaced with request board approval for each year. I think in answer to your question, yes. I mean, I would think leaving it, with the 5 12-month terms, subject to annual budget approval, is fine as is, but within those 5 years, we would still review it and approve each year. Is that? The request to remove automatically renew annually, but to be replaced with request board approval each year, yes, does not imply that I want us to send out an RFP each year. We would still keep that 5 12-month terms, but instead of it automatically renewing each year, we would just bring it back to the board.
And then if the board,
If we don't see anything that we need to fix and everything's okay, it would get approved. If we see something that we think needs to be revised, then we would revise it.
We can do that
I mean,
Director Garcia?
but with the clauses in there, we can do that anyway, before the end of the year, with 30-day notice and hold them accountable for any deficiencies. But I still have the concern, we're making a change after the vendor agreed to these terms.
Right.
If they don't agree, we may not have anybody. That's a risk. And once this contract's approved, the renewal of it is not above the authority of the city manager. So we're saying we want the board to do it instead of the city manager.
The solicitation was issued with this contract in mind.
Well, is everybody kind of clear on what the amendment is? If you are, let's call the roll.
Director Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
No.
Webb.
aye.
Garcia.
No.
Trustee.
No.
Holliday.
No.
Mayor McCabe.
No. Amendment is defeated. Proposed amendment. Any further discussion? Please call the roll on the original.
Director Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. That concludes the action items for this evening. This time, we'll hear from individual directors on items for discussion. Any items for Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted, I was asked to extend a special thank you to the City of Hot Springs for the assistance provided from the Hot Springs Elks in helping them obtain a needed porta potty for the event at the grounds of the Hot Springs Elks Lodge for the 300 people that attended the Eclipse event during the 8th at the grounds of the Elks Lodge. Also, the second item, recently there was an article in the newspaper regarding the former Majestic site that we have been, we know, worked on a lot. And after that article, I received feedback and some questions and some information that I was not aware of. And it was regarding that there are some interest in the site, but some potential investors are reluctant in how they want to come and speak with the city manager. And so I wanted to bring it up for the board if they want to discuss it in a work session or a whatever's appropriate to, there was a question about can the contract be amended to change the exclusive clearinghouse being by the Metro Partnership. And changing that everything that's going on keeps going on. It's just that if there's an investor, I don't know the reasons, but if somebody's not comfortable in going directly to them, they want to come and visit and speak to the city manager, and he wants to bring it, and they don't want to go through different cycles, they want to go to the board, that be allowed, that it's not exclusive. And I don't know if that's something the board wants to discuss or not, but I'm bringing it to you because I received feedback and was asked to, so I'm sharing that information. I wasn't aware that that would be a hindrance in having that part of the contract. I think the contract, that was pretty much the only change in the general contract with the Metro Partnership and the City for Economic Development was that exclusive clearinghouse. So I don't know if that's something that, I'm just bringing it to the board if you want to look into that at a future time.
Okay. Any other items for discussion? Director Dobbs-Smith?
There's one that was here on our upcoming events. I really don't know anything about it, but it seems like something important. It says on April 27th from 10 to 3 at the Broadway Terrace, the Transportation Depot, there is a Veterans Resource Alley. The assistance will be available for veterans, service members, and their families for benefits, help, health screening, housing and assistance, employment, and more. And it's at no cost, and I don't know how we missed that one, but that's coming up here in about a week.
Very good. Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. To respond to Director Garcia, I would support us at least having some type of work session to entertain what she is sharing with us, to look at what's happening now, how that process works for the Majestic site, and then what it could look like if we have some other alternatives for bringing these type of developments to the city. That's part number one. Part number two, at the agenda meeting a week ago, I did request, the total amount appropriated for the concession stand renovation at Kimry Park. I do want to give thanks to our city manager, Bill, for kind of breaking that down as best as you could for me and for the other directors. It does look like around $290,000 is what was appropriated at the time for the concession stand repair. And I 100% am glad that we are revitalizing this park. That concession stand was in definite need of repair. So improving that concession stand is a great move for our city. So I want that message to get out there. I want to thank you, Bill, and city staff and all of us for making that happen. Adam, everybody. I know what the concession stand looked like before these renovations took place, and I know what it looks like after the renovations took place. Does it look better? Yes, 100% looks better. Does it look like $290,000 was spent? I'm unsure. I'm not sure that I'm seeing that, and I want to be wrong at questioning that part, but I still do question it. I, want to make sure that we get what we pay for and utilize tax money the way that it should be utilized, and maybe we did. So I want to state that too, but to confirm that we did, if it's at all possible, I just want to request the breakdown of how that was spent for the concession stand.
We don't have that information.
And the reason that I make that request is because with the Sports and Recreation Department having a budget of close to $700,000 for this year of appropriated funds, I got to think if we were in any way to maybe spend less money to provide those same renovations for the concession stand, it might be a step forward to address some of the needs that the soccer field has at Kimry Park. Lights, for example, would come in to cost somewhere between $150,000 to $175,000. Right now, with about 85% of that 697 spent, if we were able to spend, say, 100 to 150 less than that 291, that gives us the opportunity to put those lights at the soccer field for Kimry. So that's where I'm coming from, having that question. Again, I want to be wrong questioning that, but I know the breakdown of what materials went into the concession stand, which were given to some degree. The concession stand building was painted, interior and exterior, new doors installed, sinks, grease trap, new roof for expansion to the concession stand area, and then I think a new office space was created along with more storage. So there are some improvements that took place, but I do have questions and concern as to if those renovations reach $290,000. That's a lot of money. Anyway, that's where I am. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Directors, items for discussion? All right, Director Garcia?
Do you have any other comments?
Oh, thank you for asking. No, not tonight.
In that case,
I can barely talk.
move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Second. We got a second? Who seconded that? I think it came from the audience. Director Webb. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.